And that's where inside this Trump administration, you really need to evaluate the specific people that are involved. Because what I always liked about Trump is this is the language that he would use. When he said about the Iraq war, he said, look, you went in, take the oil. And when he was talking about Syria, he says, who cares about Assad? Just kill ISIS. In other words, what are the tangible American interests? Insofar as ISIS is real and not a CIA Mossad creation, they were spreading this ideology in America and Europe that is actually harming us. So let's just kill them. And to the extent that we're in Iraq, who gives a shit whether they vote? Just take their oil. Just have American energy companies come in and let's just take the energy. It's transactional. That's how the world is. That's realism. We are in a great power competition with China and Russia for the alignment of middle powers, for the alignment of resource-rich countries. And we're in a battle with Russia and China over supply chains and the resources that fuel the supply chains. Specifically things like energy, rare earths, minerals, and then the shipping routes that transit those raw materials. So in this new era of competition, who cares whether Iran is Islamist or monarchist? You know, people say, I had this debate with Gavin. He said, you don't want regime change in Iran? I'm like, who cares? Like, seriously. Who cares if women in Afghanistan vote? Like, these people are primitive. It doesn't even matter. Who cares if Putin's a war criminal? Yeah, it's Russia. They're brutal. Who cares if Venezuela is run by some corrupt, petty tyrant? It's South America. They're all like that. It's always been like that. Just take their shit. Get as many countries on our side of the ledger so that we can take their shit. I don't know. Is that complicated? But on the other side of this debate, you have the ideological neocons like Rubio, like John Ratcliffe, the CIA director. You have these other people that insist, no, that's not good enough. We need a U.S. puppet in place. We need this female resistance leader that's pro-democracy. Their election was fake. Dude, our election was fake. You think our elections are real? They said Maduro lost the 2024 election. Yeah, Biden lost the 2020 election. We want to start with that?
Yeah, so this was Nick's take back in October regarding Venezuela. So a lot of people are very surprised at Nick's take, but they don't know that Nick has been feeling this way about Venezuela. He doesn't care. USA, let's take the oil. Now, if you're on Twitter, especially after this went down in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping, it was kind of interesting place on Twitter. There's a lot of people condemning it, saying, dang, no more new wars. I know for me, I voted for Trump because I wanted no new wars, no foreign conflicts. That was one of the things that I did not want. I agree with Nick only in the sense of who cares about Venezuela. Who cares is ran by like cartels and it's a corrupt government as well. In my position, I'm all about if it doesn't benefit us in any way, then I don't think we should be involved in any type of those foreign conflicts as well. So I'm with Nick. Like, who cares what's going on in Venezuela? America has a habit of playing Captain Planet all over the place. A lot of people who do like Nick, they were tweeting stuff like, this is bad, Trump sucks, we should not be doing this, yo, we gotta chill, like, why are we doing this? And a lot of people were opposed, both left and right, against Trump doing this, taking the president, putting that dude on a Nike Tech on the helicopter, which was a crazy photo, by the way.
I actually probably favor regime change in Venezuela, to be honest. I think that is a perfectly legitimate strategic goal of the United States. You know, we talk all the time about Israel and the war over there, and those are wars that don't benefit the United States. I actually think it would be beneficial if we had a pro-American regime in Venezuela. Probably would be good for us because of the resources they have. And now we have millions of Venezuelans living here, and all their criminals are here, and Americans are dead. And there's all these incalculable effects of what they're doing because of that policy. Are you now ready for another war? And what's the big idea here? We're going to send a few boats and we're going to hope the society collapses. What if it doesn't? What if they put up a fight? What if there's some insurgency? What if, and riddle me this, after 4 or 5 years of unlimited open borders and immigration, what if there's terrorist attacks inside America? Has anyone thought this through? America's waging war on the cartels which control Mexico, a country of 130 million people. America's waging war on Venezuela, which is a massive, rich country in its own right that has sent millions of its criminals and refugees into America. Has anybody thought this one through? Is this going to be a swift and easy, we're going to go in and we're going to just do things, eradicate the cartels, and then overthrow Venezuela just for fun? And we're doing this in the middle of the next war with Iran. We're doing this in the middle of the unending war in Ukraine, in the middle of trying to play this denial game with China in Taiwan. Now we're going to be fighting a counterinsurgency in America and Mexico and a regime change war in Venezuela to boot. What's the big idea here? That's the only part that I wonder.
So a lot of people are bringing up this clip because they are calling Nick a hypocrite for changing his position prior to saying he was all for invading Venezuela, taking their oil, stuff like that. Then on the other hand, he's advising against any type of military action in Venezuela just 3 months ago. And he was warning that doing something like this, if we go to their land, kind of do what we just did, take their president, that it could activate domestic terror cells and plunge America into insurgency.
And so the buildup to the war has been very interesting. Trump is deploying these naval vessels, conducting these strikes against small boats. And let's talk about specifically what the administration has done. Their first action was to put a $50 million bounty on the head of Maduro. Why? It's an extremely corrupt regime. It's a dysfunctional and poor country that is not economically efficient, that is struggling. The goal of putting the $50 million bounty is to try to get some of the top lieutenants in the regime to betray Maduro. It's to create a coup. That's effectively what that is. They're paying Maduro's inner circle to start a coup against him so they could take the ransom payment. Then Trump brings in the naval vessels and starts bombing. He's flying B-1 bombers, B-52 bombers over Venezuela. I'm sure the naval vessels are literally visible from the coast. They're putting radar in Grenada. They want Venezuela to feel the presence of the U.S. military. And the message is indelible. They want the top brass in the Venezuelan military to understand you're all going to die. Here's what's going to happen. The administration is going to kill you. The CIA is going to overthrow you. U.S. warships will bomb you, and you will literally die. So that's behind door number one. Door number two is you take the $50 million payment, you overthrow Maduro, and then maybe you're running the country. Maybe you're running the government. That's clearly the goal here. So the objective is regime change. The tactics are a resumption of the tactics from the first administration. Trump 45, which is maximum pressure. The Trump administration does not want to invade Venezuela. It doesn't want a protracted conflict. They want to increase the pressure psychologically, economically, militarily with this gunboat display, with sanctions, with the ransom or the bounty, and they want the people inside the regime to do the work for him. Here's the problem. The Maduro regime is airtight, and they survived the first Trump administration. They tried this the first time, and it was catastrophic. 8 million people fled Venezuela, 8 million refugees, and many of them went to the United States. That was part of the 10 million that came in under Biden. 8 million refugees left Venezuela. They went to neighboring countries. They went to the United States. There were massive protests, mass starvation, hyperinflation. Venezuela was brought to the brink of collapse by maximum pressure the first time, but the Maduro regime is airtight.
So as we know, Nick is on a vacation right now until January 12th, but that doesn't stop him from being active on Twitter or in his Telegram chat, where he let his feelings be known about what just happened in Venezuela. Now that Venezuela has been liberated, we must send every single Venezuela illegal refugee and criminal back home. Take the oil, re-immigrate the foreigners. So I guess this was posted 10 hours ago as well. So Nick is on that gangster stuff. He's saying we should take the oil. Fuck all that. Who cares? We're just going to take their oil, do all that stuff. And the day prior initially seemed like a solid operation to cleanly, bloodlessly, and quickly remove Maduro from power last night. But this new policy of running Venezuela with US soldiers sounds like a massive overcommitment. I have zero confidence in nation building. Big mistake. And that's because Nick doesn't really have much confidence in Trump. That's why he's saying this. But I do agree that whole, Trump was talking gangsters, saying we're going to rerun in Venezuela. Never in history has there been a very clean, easy process of regime change. It's just crazy. There's always those rebels or freedom fighters in those countries. So it's a very difficult task. It's just not an overnight thing. We can snatch your president in an overnight thing, but for America only, American first. As long as our troops, our people are not put in harm's way, our economy is booming, and other countries are not bullying us in any type of way. Yeah, so a lot is going on, especially in Nick Fuentes' Telegram chat. And for the first time, usually he ratios everyone, but now he's actually getting ratioed in his own Telegram because people are not liking some of his takes. He's getting some pushback. He's getting some pushback on his take in this whole situation. We're already on this roller coaster up and down with Iran, the Middle East, stuff like that going on. And honestly, a lot of people just don't want no conflict with Venezuela. So why are we doing this? It's something we should not have done. That's what a lot of people are saying. So let me know what you think. Do you agree with Nick's initial take on Venezuela? Is he talking crazy? Does this make you look at him a little bit different? Because let me know, do you think Nick Fuentes' takes on Venezuela is